Good morning, everyone. You are watching XA Talk Show. Today is September 25th, Wednesday, 9:30 in the morning, San Francisco time. And how are you guys? So let's see what is today's topic. If no topic, I'm just going to go random. Okay. So Bartholomew says, so I changed my time. It's going to be 9 o'clock every day this week. Okay, this week 9 o'clock every day. But yesterday I slept late and I thought, oh, but I slept late, so I changed it to 10. But in the morning, I woke up 2 hours ago. I woke up early, so I wanted to change back to 9 o'clock. But then I thought I already put out 10 yesterday, so maybe it's not good because people come in 10. That's already finished. So I changed it to 9:30, thinking that 9:30 is like in between, so that people will see it. I shouldn't change the times. That's no good. It's because the schedule. So let's see what's the topic. Let me refresh the window. Refresh the window and coffee, milk and coffee powder. So am I alive? It's not too sure. What's with this starting? It should say live. 0 watching now. This is incorrect. So definitely I'm broadcasting, and so do you see me? Finally, Derek. Good morning, Derek. Good morning, Bartholomew. Okay. So Bartholomew says number 13 question number 13, how to deal with runs on different operating systems and how to handle non UTF-8 input when runs are expected. You shouldn't call it run because it is, you should just call it Unicode characters. Unicode consortium is the organization that created this thing, and the Unicode characters. And run, the word run means two things. In Golang, they invented the word. In Golang, they created the jargon runs to mean Unicode code point. Now you guys know what code point is, right? So in Golang they created that jargon. Run means basically just means Unicode code point, or in other words, it means Unicode character. Now I talked about this Unicode stuff. So anyway, in Unicode, in Golang they call it run, but run is also a Asian language. Should I show it? Let me show it then. Okay, so let me show XA Unicode. Okay, and XA Li Golang. Okay, so let me explain that my Golang tutorial. You can go to types, Golang types, basic types. But before we talk about that, let me tell you what does the run means. The word run in English. So Unicode, my Unicode website, you go down, search for run. There it is, run. Okay, this is what run looks like. For example, what you see below are run. It's kind of an Asian language used in Northern Europe. So this is what run looks like. But however, in Golang, the Rob Pike and friends, they just borrowed the word run to stand for Unicode code point. Okay, so So run in Golang is several things. It means one integer from 0 to 2 raised to 32nd power minus 1. It's an integer, okay, and it's also a Golang type. There's a Golang type named run. It's alias to int32, and it also means a Unicode code point. Those integers stand for Unicode code point, and it also means a character because that's what code point is, Unicode code point. So let me explain what is Unicode code point. So guys, comment, okay? Type stuff. Bartholomew, type stuff. Let me know I'm here. So Unicode is the standard that has all the words, languages, characters. And so each character. But why don't they just call it character? They don't call it character because for example, space, the space character, space is not really a character, but and space and return and tab, those are white spaces. You call them white spaces, but they are also, I mean, in some sense, they are characters. From a computer point of view, they are characters because you need to represent them. But from a writing point of view, they are not characters. They are just space. So, but in a programming technology point of view, you have to call them characters. I mean, so that's the thing. You have different. Whether space is a character or not, or line return or tab, depends on the context. Therefore, in Unicode, they call every character a code point. They don't call it character. They just call it a code point. But in practice, you can think of them as characters. Now, code point is just a integer. It's like an integer ID that identifies the character. Okay, there you go. So I just went online. Shit, there's some long delay. I already talked for like 5 minutes. I already talked for, let's see how long, for 7 minutes. I started like 5 minutes ago, 7 minutes ago. There must be, uh, you know, um, yeah. Anyway, so I was talking about Unicode code point, and I was talking about Unicode code point. So I was saying, you shouldn't call it a run. So anyway, so Bartholomew's question is how to deal with runs or Unicode code point, Unicode, on different operating systems, and how to handle non-UTF-8 input when runs are expected. So what you really mean is that how do you handle non-ASCII characters? That's the proper way to, that's the proper way to say it. How to deal with non-ASCII characters on different operating systems, and how to handle non-UTF-8 input. Like depends on what you mean, Bartholomew. So if you can be more specific, and I can tell you uh, because what you mean. For example, what do you mean by how to deal with them? Code. Okay, so maybe here's the answer. Okay, so when you see a file, each file have a different, maybe encoded in different encoding systems. It can be UTF-8, it can be UTF-16, it can be UTF-32, or it could be you know what's some of the names, coding systems. Okay, so let me explain. Xali Unicode encoding. Okay, I have a page that explains that. So Bartholomew says the reason for the topic is that I was writing an app for Windows including runs, and only after that I found out that Windows is very weird about text encoding. Okay, I would recommend then that you fully understand. I would recommend that you read this page, okay, so that you have complete understanding of Unicode. So this page is not too long. It's only like 4 screens. Okay. So you read this page, or maybe we can talk about that. Yeah. Maybe I'll talk about this page. So it's incorrect to say that that Windows does not support Unicode. Windows support Unicode fully. In fact, I think they support Unicode fully. There are a lot misinformation and propaganda from the Unix people. Those kind of people I hate. I talked about this all the time. Like Unix philosophy, the Linux. Those people. They spread misinformation about Microsoft Windows all the time. So Windows they can handle Unicode 100%. Even better than Unix, better than Linux. Like 5 years before Linux actually even supports UTF-8. So what is so let me try to answer the practical answer to that question. So I was writing an app for Windows, including runs, and only after that I found out that Windows is very weird about text encoding. It's not very weird. Okay, this is a mischaracterization. Each operating system they handle Unicode differently, including programming languages. For example, Java source code is encoded in UTF-16. JavaScript string is more even weird. Okay, there are quite a few topics to talk about this in depth. Okay, Java. So you have the concept of source code. What is the encoding system used for source code? Depending on the language, each one is different. Okay, some of them can be they don't care. Like you can encode the source code in any encoding system. For example, JavaScript, Ruby, and Python and Perl. The source code can be encoded in any encoding system. Now, that's one thing. Now, a language's string, every language has a string. Almost all languages has string. That string, um, that string is a different issue. What exactly does the string mean? So that's a different. That again depends on the language. For example, in Java, it's just it's a sequence of 16 bytes. That's it. It's not character. It's not Unicode. It's not ASCII. It's a sequence of 16 bytes based on UTF-16 encoding. The topic actually gets complex. Okay. Anyway, that's a string in Java. Now in JavaScript, again, a string is a sequence of 16 bytes based on UTF-16. I think it's the same as Java. Okay, that's JavaScript. Now in Golang, a string is a sequence of bytes, 8 bits. 8 bits. So again, that's very different from Java or JavaScript. Now in Python 2, a string is a sequence of bytes in Python 2, just like almost is just like Golang, almost exactly. I think they are slightly different. But anyway, in Python 2, a string, what does a string mean? It's a sequence of bytes, okay, 8 bits. But in Python 3, a string, each string, a string is a sequence of Unicode code points. Okay, so this is another concept. This is about what does a string mean in each language. On Emacs, Emacs Lisp, for example, a string is just a sequence of Unicode code points. So again, let me summarize. There are two different concepts when it comes to character set or Unicode of a programming language. One is, what is your source code encoded in? I mean, in Python, JavaScript, it does not matter. You can encode your source code in any encoding, okay, or Chinese encoding, doesn't matter. As as long as then you have to specify what encoding is used. There are mechanics, there are ways to do it. So some languages, the source code can be encoded in any encoding, but however in Java, for example, in Java, they must always be encoded in UTF-16. Okay, that's Java. Now in JavaScript it doesn't matter, but by convention it's typically always UTF-8. Okay. Actually, I have articles for all the details for each of these, but so let's see. So many questions. So I want to make sure that I don't get distracted. Like so so that the topics we are talking is organized. So first of all, we're talking about Unicode issues with respect to programming languages. Okay, one is first issue is what is the encoding used for the source code. Okay, I'm making a list so that it's more clear to the video content, so we know what are we talking about. So the first issue is what is the encoding used for source code. Different languages have different ideas. Okay, for example, in Perl, Python, Ruby, JavaScript, the source code can be in any encoding, but typically you have to specify it if it is not if it's not X, such as UTF-8. Okay, encoding, source code encoding, that's one thing. Now another thing is string. What does a string mean? Different languages has greatly different approach to this issue. Okay, for example, in Golang, string is sequence of bytes. In Golang and Python too, string is a sequence of bytes. Okay, showing browser. Does that make sense? Okay, so in Golang, a string is a sequence of bytes. In Python too, string is a sequence of bytes. In JavaScript, a string is a sequence of 16 bits or 2 bytes. In Java and JavaScript, string is a sequence of 16 bits based on UTF-16 encoding. Okay, so what is encoding? We can talk about that. So basically, when you deal with Unicode stuff, you have to understand all these fundamental concepts, and you have to understand them well. So Bartholomew, I would recommend you study this page. Let's copy that. Okay, so that's what we talked about so far, and we will be using UTF-8 until we die. No more transitions. That's not true. That's false. Okay, Duncan. Oh, Duncan, there's something I want to mention. Okay, Duncan did this. Oh God, I'm starting to digress. And I need to finish reading the comments. So many topics like in parallel right now. Now, Duncan, you did a Lisp label. Is that right? Shit, I have it somewhere here, but I get there it is. Duncan Home. Yes, exactly, that's you. So Duncan Home did this. Look at this beautiful Lisp sticker. Duncan made this. Do you still have them? So Duncan made this. So you can stick on your laptop. That's a Lisp. Lisp is the future. Lisp is the future, my friends. Um, so Duncan, right? Right. So let's put that here. So let me answer that question. Okay, we will be using UTF-8 until we die. That's not true. Okay, that's, for example, in entirety of China, they are using a different. Oh, so Duncan still has that stickers. so, so you guys, if you want it, so Duncan, are you willing to sell? You know, so you have to send $20 to Duncan to he'll ship you this Lisp sticker maybe. So anyway, so God, I have so many topics. So let me read the comments. Okay, let me just try to see what are the questions out there. If you find schedule, so Bartholomew says, the reason for the topic. Okay, so Windows broke the UTF-8 processing of the input. That's not true. Okay, Bartholomew, that's again, each operating system is different, so you just have to know what is the Windows way. They don't just break UTF-8 processing of the input. I changed to UTF-8 beta on Windows. I did not ask Unix people. I read Wikipedia and it said that Windows is weird about. That's bullshit. Okay, like point out the Wikipedia article and let me dissect it on the spot. I can tell you what is correct, what is wrong. Bartholomew says it did not work on Windows. It was printing useless characters. Yeah, that happens all the time. That happens especially with Python 2. So yeah, so you have to, first of all, you have to understand fully the concepts, the core concepts of what is character set, what is encoding, what is UTF-8, what is their nature, how is UTF-8 different from UTF-16, and how is it different from, for example, some other encoding, Chinese encoding, for example, character name encoding systems. There's Chinese characters. I'm trying to find a Chinese encoding system. It's written somewhere here. Yeah, every time I don't remember offhand. So anyway, there are different. There are quite a few different encoding systems, and it's not true that UTF-8 will be. UTF-8 is today is the most popular, at least in non-Asian countries, at least. Okay, in Western countries, French, Spanish, English, things like that, and Russian, the European languages. Yeah, you go with UTF-8, and it looks like it'll be the encoding for the next 10 years at least. Possibly after 10 years, you'll switch to UTF-32. Okay, possibly. But also UTF-8. Also, by the way, Java and Windows file system and Mac OS file system, they are stuck with UTF-16. So don't believe what you read online. The online people I know, mostly, especially, most of the online tech opinions, they came from the Unix Linux people. They talk, they like to talk. That's called FUD. Spread fear. That they blame Microsoft. FUD, fear, uncertainty. What is D for? That's why I despise the Linux Unix philosophy people. FUD, fear. My God, fear. It becomes a Unicode character. I don't want to become fear. Okay. Uncertainty. uncertainty, and what is D for? Okay, I'm gonna explain that. Okay, fear, uncertainty, and doubt. Oh my God, I haven't seen this phrase used for a long time. Unix philosophy is pretty much dead. Today's young people, especially millennials, they don't have respect. Yeah, the hacker, basically the whole hacker community is dead. The hacker kind of community. And today, yesterday, a few days ago, Richard Stallman is gone. So the Unix philosophy kind of thing is gone. Today's people don't know about it. But anyway, in the 1990s and 2000s, Unix people, they used to spread this jargon, FUD, acronym FUD, fear, uncertainty, doubt. Okay, they say this is Windows. Windows is spreading fear, uncertainty, doubt. I think actually the Unix philosophy, the Unix people, they are doing that. For example, let me explain all these character encodings. Okay, for example, Bartholomew says Windows 1252. What is universal about it? About this? How is this normal? Let me explain. You know how Unix is the operating system that is most obsessive about backward compatibility. Unix, okay, among all operating systems, Apple, Windows, Unix, okay. Unix compare them. Unix is the one that is most asinine, obsessive about backward compatibility. They are the most, okay. They want everything to be backward compatible back to like 1980s. They don't want to change anything. That is why in many of in a shell, for example, shell bash, we still have tons of convention that doesn't make sense at all today. But that's the way it is. Unix people don't want to change that. They it's just that's their nature. Okay, it's not they intentionally oh, I want to this or that. It's just the way they think. They don't want to change anything. So like today we still have sudo, like sudo, and the sudo is extreme complex fuck. Okay, sudo and a bunch of things, and tar, and look at tar is like 40 years old. The Free Software Foundation, they are still sticking to tar. You know what is a tar? You know what is tar, right? On Unix, tar, man page tar, and man page itself is still there. Nobody is actually using man page anymore. Like today, all the programs, they start to have program name dash dash help instead, and in fact that's better. Man page and tar, and also the Unix file structure, it's all fucked up. It's old. But so you don't get me started on Unix. Okay, sudo is extremely complex. Back in 2000s, I was sysadmin, and I was deep. I was diving into Unix very deep back then, and so I know, I can do surgery, what they call surgery today. Like like configure, like who can use sudo. Like today, nobody do that anymore. Today you have Docker. You don't even nobody even go to SSH much anymore. Back in the days, you SSH into a co-located machine and manage your server and stuff. You don't do that anymore. You have Docker, you have serverless, whatever serverless programming. I don't actually know what that is, but anyway, the point is that you don't the concept of log into a remote machine, it's almost kind of, it's not dead yet. Of course, a lot of you, I know, I still use, but it's in general, it's kind of, that's going away. And so back then, so today you don't actually, I think most of you don't even have the experience of logging into a Unix system where there are 10 other people also logged in. You don't have that experience anymore. It's like you don't do that anymore. So sudo back then was, you have to use sudo because if you are sysadmin, I mean, even the word sysadmin is good. Today you have the dev op, Yeah, your dev op, it's all changed. So the Unix philosophy, the hacker community kind of died. Okay, so sudo back then, when you sysadmin a machine where 10 people, all the developers log in, you have a dev machine. That's what I do. So people log in, you have to configure sudo so that, for example, this guy have certain this that privilege, that guy has root privilege and things like that. So you need to configure sudo. So I have to do that. Sudo config file. It's like garbage. It's just like everything about Unix. Config files, everything, every program is incompatible with each other and extremely fucking extremely esoteric. It's impossible to believe who fuckhead designed that. Okay. That's in general describe every program about Unix. Sudo is one of them. So I dived into sudo 20 years ago because you have to configure who can. Uh, I'm talking about configuring sudo. Is yeah, and that's what I'm talking about. Like you can check just by man page sudo. I mean today you guys don't even haven't read sudo anymore. Anyway, I'm not going to go into that. We digress so much. I want to go back to the character sets and stuff. And okay, so I want to yeah, let's go back. So I was talking about how Unix compared to Mac and Windows. Unix and Linux is the one that is most obsessive about backward compatibility. And that's why the shell and all the things, everything you use on Linux is kind of have lots of complex baggage attached to it. Okay, so that's about backward compatibility on Unix. But however, I mean it's backward compatibility is important. I mean it's a practical thing. You cannot just always move forward. For example, let me talk about some industrial backward compatibility issues. For example, JavaScript. Today we have JavaScript 2015, 2016. Every year we have a new JavaScript spec. But JavaScript people, they decided they want to be 100% backward compatible. That's JavaScript. Okay. Python, for example, Guido decided, nah, we're gonna, we are progressive. We want to move forward into the future. So Python decided Python 3, which is not backward compatible. So you got Python 2 is, then you got Python 3. Okay. So that's about backward compatibility. Different programming languages, they have different like idea how progressive they are, how obsessive they want to maintain backward compatibility. On the other hand, compared among operating systems, Mac is the most progressive. Okay, Mac is the most progressive. They are backward compatible only as far as money is concerned. Money, that's right. They are aggressive about moving forward, making things not backward compatible. For example, their ports, like everything about Mac. Basically, the way they decide about something, whether something should be backward compatible or they should move on with a new system or new syntax or new ports and peripherals and things like that. The way Apple decide about that is money. That is, for example, every their machine maybe have 5 years lifetime. So once that 5 years, so after 5 years, basically, for Apple, basically they move about 5 years backward. That's it. You just have 5 years backward compatibility. Then if you want to, but I'm using my program that no long it's 5 years old, no longer works. It's 6 years old, no longer works. Apple's answer is that, it's time you buy a new Mac. That's Apple. Now Windows is in between. Okay. Now I talked about now so backward compatibility is an issue. Okay, it's an important issue. Now let's go back to the Windows character encoding, the Windows 1252. What is that? I don't like it. Okay, I don't like it. I never liked the Microsoft because I don't like big corporations. But Windows 1252, what the fuck is that? Well, that is backward compatibility. Windows, okay? If you are the boss of Windows, I mean, suppose you are a Linux fanatic, and suddenly Microsoft bankrupt, they release everything open source. You are now the boss. You are controlling. You are deciding what should how things should move on. You are going to still going to have Windows 1252. Yeah, that's what you're gonna do because backward compatibility. Because Windows, you see, Windows, they are used by like 90% of population all over the world for like for 30 years. You can't it's not up to you. You can't just say, oh, from now on Windows 11 we're gonna ditch, no more Windows, no more Windows 1252 encoding, no more the old stuff. You can't do that. Okay, just like JavaScript, you have the word of concern that's going on. It's not you can't just say, oh, we're gonna do some switch to, we're gonna ditch X11. Yeah, another Linux fuck. X11 Unix fuck. Like for example, in Unix, X11 is a thing today that Linux people realize we need to get rid of, but you just can't because all the programs are written in X11. Typically you have this niche group like me or my followers who wants to move forward. Oh, we should use the what's the new name, the new windowing system, but for the most part you can't just do that, because they are systems, the nuclear facility, CDs, they are education institution all over the world. You can't just change your system. Backward compatibility, that's an important issue. It's not up to you just to ditch, change. That is why you have Windows, 1252 encoding. That I suppose that's, yeah. I don't know Windows tech. Okay, so but let's look it up. So that is why you have that encoding Windows 1252. And when it comes to wiki, okay, when Unix people, when they see these, they'll just say, "Oh, fuck, stupid Unix. They don't support UTF-8, or they don't do this, that. They are weird. Fuck the Unix fuckheads." Okay, that is my dissection of the Unix. This Unix propaganda you hear every day. Unix since at least 1990s Unix. So let's see what is Windows 1252. Windows 1252 or CP1252 is a single byte character encoding of the Latin alphabet. Okay, that's Windows invention used by default in legacy components of Microsoft Windows. Yeah. So Bartholomew, you run into this because well, because you don't know the Windows system. You have to understand the Windows system, just like when you learn Linux. Like when you encounter Linux problems, Linux got 10 times more problems than Windows. You go to Stackflow, you go to Ubuntu, Ubuntu, wiki, you go to Arch Linux wiki, and then you spend 10 hours to figure things out, and you don't complain. You are thinking, oh, this is so great, so many information for the Linux fuckheads. Wait, how come you don't think of that for Windows? Give Windows a break. So Windows, and by the way, anyway, so that's the issue. That's my complaint about the Unix people. Okay, they are spreading fear, uncertainty, doubt about Windows. And another jargon that was popular is embrace and extend. Okay, that's another Unix, fuckheads. They create things. Let's talk about that some other day because I saw people mention it the other day in my chat. I know about these, all these things. And okay, so I was talking about, originally we were talking about encoding system, kind of some technical talk. I was wondering, should we still do that? Because I was going to give you a kind of explanation, of what is character set encoding and UTF-8, UTF-16, and all that. You have to understand. So read this article. You understand it well. Then, if Windows is your main operating system, then you have to actually understand how Windows work. First of all, you understand about this encoding issue. Now, this issue is kind of a permanent issue. I mean, it doesn't matter what operating system you have this issue. When you want to do computing of characters, characters needs to have an encoding to work. To have a in order for computers to display characters. So that's one thing you need to understand. That's part of computer science. Then, depending on what programming language you use, what operating system you use, then you have to know that particular operating system or language, how they deal with the issue. This is typically my approach to everything computing. First of all, you understand what is the issue involved. Kind of what is the problem, what is the issue. Then you learn about specific technology, how they deal with that issue. So you have to do that. So okay, so let me read the comments. So comments. So, and we haven't mentioned Chinese encoding yet. Okay, so some people, like a lot misinformation out there, are saying, okay, UTF-8, we're gonna use UTF-8 forever. That's not true. The entirety of China, which is about 1/5 of people in the world. Okay, 1/5. Chinese and India has the most population if you count the number of people in the world. So entirety of China, they are using an encoding called CT18 something. Okay, or let's see. Let me see if I can find it. I have so many articles about that specifically. Did I mention it here? Okay, maybe not here. So Sa Li Chinese encoding. I have like several articles about it. So for example, here's one article. What character encoding do Chinese websites use? That's one article. Okay, let's just go there. So back in 2012, I did a survey. What character encoding do Chinese websites use back in 2012? Okay, so I looked at all the most popular Chinese websites, and I made a report. So you can see the encoding here. You have UTF-8, you have GB2312, okay, GB2312, okay. Then you have GBK, you have So anyway, Chinese encoding, basically China. Okay, so anyway, that's about Chinese encoding, and the Chinese government, they have standards. So basically, every computer you sell in China, they must support the GB. Let me tell you what is the encoding. Okay, intro to Chinese encoding. Every computer you sell, every computing device must support GB23112. Okay, that's it. That's a law. So in China, almost the entire website in China, they are not using Unicode. Okay, then I know the Unix people will say, "Oh, that's problem. That's a problem. The Chinese government so evil. They don't go with international standard." Okay, that's wrong. That's like stupid. That's your bias. Okay, the GB2312 encoding is is Unicode compatible. It's they call a transcoding format for Unicode, meaning that every Unicode character or Unicode character is also present in GB2312. and likewise, vice versa. So they are kind of the same. However, the encoding is different. The character set is the same. Okay. Now, why do Chinese not use, let's say, UTF, Unicode? Let's say, why did Chinese not just use UTF, maybe UTF-16 or UTF-32? Well, at that, they can't, so they have to make a choice. I mean, it's so in this case, they choose their own encoding. There's also backward compatibility reasons. Okay, before Unicode is invented, they have GBK. Okay, and they have Big Five, which is used in Taiwan. Okay, so Big Five is used in Taiwan. That's before Unicode. Okay, you don't have Unicode yet. So you need to, just like Unix and Windows, you need to have backward compatibility. So they invented encoding that GBK is, I think it's backward compatible to part of the Big Five, things like that. So then after 10 years they need to create a new encoding because GBK is too old, 30 years old, things like that, 10 years old. So eventually you have GB2312, which is backward compatible with GBK, things like that. In the same way, UTF-8 encoding is backward compatible to ASCII. Okay, if you have a file, every character is ASCII characters. Then if you encode that file in UTF-8, then that file is exactly the same as if you encode it in ASCII. Because why? Because backward compatibility. UTF-8 is designed so that it's backward compatible with UTF is with ASCII. Okay, 100%. As long as you don't have non-ASCII characters. Backward compatibility is a practical issue. You cannot just ignore it. It's there. It's practical. But meanwhile, it's also kind of nasty. You really, you rather want to move forward. Move forward to better design. Remove the old warts. The old design problems. You want to move forward, but there's a conflict. You have to, backward compatibility is issue. Okay, so let's see how long I've been talking. 40 minutes. So let's read the comments. Let's read all the comments. Then I start to talk again. So now it's a good time to post comments. Okay, post questions, whatever. So I got a few. Um, uh, how do you say distractors? Disagree. I got a few people who disagree. Okay, Israel says your credibility is going down the drain. And Bartholomew says, why do I have to treat an OS special? There is a thing in German that is called Extrawurst. Extrawurst. How do you pronounce that? You should look that up. Okay, let's look that up. Oh God, what's going on? Oh shit. Ah, this macOS Extrawurst. Let's see. Extrawurst, German. It means it means a smoked salmon, something like that. Okay, so I guess a cold cut. Yeah, so in America we call this cold cut. Bologna sausage. So is that what you mean? I don't think this is what you mean. German expression. Okay, German idiomatic expression. Extrawurst is also a frequently used German expression of disapproval, relating to someone wanting or receiving special treatment. Okay, one would say something, something, something. Okay, special treatment. Yeah. Okay, but do I make sense? I mean, Bartholomew, overall, after what I've said, do I make sense or you still disagree? I mean, yeah, let me know if you still disagree. Let's go back to comments. Uh, let's go back. It's okay. Post comments, okay. Post comments in my, make it orange. So let me read the comments. Um, Good morning, Seamus. Good morning, Max Rater from Russia. So Max Rater, tell us, what is the encoding used in Russia? Is it UTF-8? And do Russian have their own encoding? And by the way, also Japanese has their own encoding. Okay, so it's like, the social justice scam, they would say. Many of your opinions are Eurocentric. Everything that's not European is all government, evil government or something. That's not true. And Unix centric. Okay. So Max Rater says, what is a rule of thumb for string? Should we adopt to programming language or OS? What do you mean? Like for a string in programming language, like we talked about that before. I mean today, in early today. So a string, if each language deal with it differently, you know, and I don't think there is one solution for all. I mean, like Golang has its approach, Python 3 has its approach, JavaScript is the worst. Okay, JavaScript is the worst. But anyway, so to me, I mean, I don't know all the languages approach, but to me, so far, I think I feel like Golang's approach is the best. Okay, a string is a sequence of bytes. Meanwhile, you have the run character type. You have the slice type that can deal with it. I talked about this in my video about Golang strings. So this is for people who are doing Golang. Okay, it gets very technical. Yeah. So what does a string mean in a language? That's actually very technical. You know, even if you programmed in a language for 2 years, average programmer in a company, you would not know. Okay, you would know after maybe 3 4 years, or unless you actually deal with string conversion or Unicode a lot, then you would know. For example, in Golang, you have this issue: string byte string versus byte slice versus run slice. So string is a sequence of bytes, okay, 8 bits. Then you have the byte slice concept. Byte slice is just a basically a mutable array. Each element is a byte. Okay, string is immutable. That is why you have byte slice, mutable. So that allows you, if you have a long, 10,000 characters, you can use byte slice. So you can change, some characters. However, each one of them is dealing with bytes. But Unicode character is not 1 byte. Many Unicode characters are 2 or 3 or 4 bytes. So then you come up with a concept of run slice, where basically it's a mutable array where each element is a character. Okay, so you have these 3 different concepts. Then it's kind of tedious. Like every time you deal with Unicode, then you have to convert between one of them. Like you have to, this function, you have to know which type it returns exactly. Then you have to decide whether are you going to change it or are you not going to change it. Or if you are dealing with Unicode, or you are dealing with, let's say, audio stream or video stream, where you are dealing with bytes. So depends on the context. Then you have to choose the right type. Like in Golang, they have usually a function have 3 versions. One deal with a string, one returns a string, one returns a byte slice. Yeah, typically have, and then you have a package that deal with runs. So every time you have a string, you have to consider, which one is it, how you're gonna use it. Then you have to switch, you have to change type, things like that. So it's kind of tedious. On the other hand, for example, Python 3 approach, where a string is always just Unicode characters. A string is sequence of Unicode characters. Okay, that's it. But then you got problems. Like a lot of people complain about Python 3 string, because often when you do network programming, you need to deal with sequence of bytes. You don't want to deal with characters. You want to deal with bytes. But often, string is a very convenient type. So you again you run into a problem. Oh, you got a string in Python 3. It's always a UTF. It's always a UTF. I think it's UTF-8. But anyway, it's a sequence of Unicode characters. Then you have to change it to a byte stream type. You have this problem too. But I think Golang is better. Okay, Golang is better. I learned this, I find it so great. It's so great. On the other hand, let's look at JavaScript. Okay, I have articles for each of these. Okay, um, so that's for you. If you are interested in this kind of topic, then you have to look into detail. Okay, so let me show you the articles. Okay, let's post it here. So that's about Golang. Then let's go to Xali JavaScript string. Okay, JavaScript string is the worst. Okay, okay. I actually have several. Yeah, I did several video talking about that. I guess. So JavaScript string, I have a very technical, detailed article diving into the meaning of JavaScript strings. Okay, so string overview, template string, character code unit, code point. Okay, so you can go to string overview, and you can go to this article in detail. Very complex. JavaScript string is the worst. Okay, so string is 16 bits unit sequence. So in a string, JavaScript string, each unit it's not a character. Remember, this is important, critical. It's not a character. Okay, it's not a Unicode character. No, is it a 8-bit byte? No, it's not. For example, let me show you. You'll be surprised. Okay, this article. So I explain what is a code point. For example, look at this JavaScript code. Okay, let me copy it and run it. Let me show you. Okay, create a JavaScript. Okay, new buffer, magnify. Okay, paste. So let's say we're gonna run this. Okay, console log. We want this. This is a string. Okay, and it has one character, an emoji. We want to see how many characters are there. Okay, run it. It returns true. So this string, the length of this string is 2 characters. What the fuck? It's a one emoji. This is not a combo character. This is a single character. For example, in Emacs we call describe char. Okay, so the code point is 128514, or in hexadecimal is 1F602. Okay, and this character's name is face with tears of joy. Okay, it's one single character. It's not composition. That's another complexity of Unicode. You have composed characters, but anyway, in this case, it's one single emoji characters. It's not composition. But in JavaScript, it says length 2. What the fuck? In fact, all JavaScript string method have this problem. Okay, every string method. Okay, it's a serious fuck up. Fuck all fucked up problem in JavaScript. Okay, and to this day, there's no fix for that. I mean, like every JavaScript function that string methods have this problem because why? Because a JavaScript string is a sequence of 2 bytes, 16 bits. That is why. I mean, so when you deal with Unicode, if you work with Unicode, if you are writing application that process Unicode, you got this problem. So every time you need to use a string method, basically you cannot rely on it. So you have to go with workaround. And this problem is so deep and serious that the JavaScript 2015 did not fix it. 2016 did not fix it. 2017, 18, it's not going to be fixed forever. It's not fixed. Why? Because backward compatibility. Okay, they don't want to fix it. So it's a big problem. Okay, so here's a JavaScript. And by the way, this problem, what you have seen here, happens with Java too. So you see, when you do programming, you have lots of these details. This is a major fuck. This is a major fuck up. And imagine if you work in Java, you have the same problem, exact same problem, because Java, their string, I believe, is also 16. It's almost similar to JavaScript. Each element in string is a 16-bit value, and also in Java, the source code encoding is 16 bits. Why does all this problem happen? Because this is 30 years ago, 25 years ago, Java in 1995. Back then, the thinking was that back then you don't have emojis. Okay, emoji is 10 years old. You don't have emojis. Back then, the thought is that back then everyone is still using ASCII. Okay, English, stupid ASCII, A B C D E F G to Z. That's it. You don't have Chinese. You cannot do Chinese, Japanese, Korean, Islamic, Russian. You cannot do it. That's the back then. But so back then, people are most USA, European. They are all ASCII. Okay, they are all ASCII. While in Taiwan, Taiwan is Big Five. In China, GBK, like we mentioned, they invent their own. In Japan, you have like XJS, to something something Japanese encoding. Okay, for Japan. And Unicode just began around 1990s. Okay, Unicode is not popular yet. The every time you have a technology, each corporation do power struggle. Like nobody is sure it's going to survive or not. Anyway, so Java have the same problem. Why do they have the problem, Java and JavaScript? Because back then the thought was that 16-bit is enough. It's like a big jump from ASCII. ASCII only supports 127 characters. That's it. But with 16-bit Unicode, yeah, so this Unicode, Unicode 16 bits. The thinking was that, oh my God, now we have like 2 million something. That's plenty. In fact, that's enough for all entire world's languages, including Asian languages like Egyptian. The logograph, the Egyptograph, Egyptian logograph. So the thinking was that it's enough. 16 bits, yeah. That's enough for the future of humanity. But things change. It turns out, then after 20 years, we decided, oh, that's not enough. Then then this problem happens. We have legacy. Okay. But if you are younger today, you don't know. You don't know this. You see things. Oh, they are not UTF-8. Oh, they are stupid. That's not true. You look at window. Oh, they are FUD fear. Fear uncertainty. Uncertainty. Uh, you know doubt. That's not true. Okay. So we talked about so that's about strings in Java and JavaScript. We talked about strings in Python 3. We talked about string in Unicode. I mean in Golang. So the question is there one single design for a language's string such that it's so good that everyone should adopt? No. As far as I know, no. So far we haven't seen it. Okay. So that answers that question. I hope that question from the Russian guy. Good morning, Ztron Crazy. Thank you for coming by. Maxerator. So that's Maxerator's question. So comments. Okay, okay. So nobody is addressing me. Okay, okay, good. So Greendeck says in Russia we have UTF-8. We use UTF-8 and Windows 1251. Okay, so it looks like Windows 1251 is kind of like ASCII. Uh, so let me read the comments. Okay, so back to the beginning. Okay, so Bartholomew says I did not ask Unix people and so on. By the way, so Bartholomew, as you know, I'm not criticizing you or Israel, right? I'm not, right. You know me, right? You guys know me, okay? I want to offload my hatred against the Unix people. Okay, you can disagree or not, but uh, printing useless characters. Okay, uh, so what is ZHZ CHZ? I don't think there's a CHZ Chinese encoding. Okay, use eShell. Okay, what is the use? What is okay eShell? Now in Emacs Lisp, the encoding is again interesting. Okay, it's different from Golang, Python 3, Python 2, or C or Java or JavaScript. Again, also I don't know C. Okay, but I think C string is just a sequence of bytes. Okay, it's a sequence of bytes. So if you want to deal with Unicode, I don't know how you deal with it. I guess I don't know C. So and C++. I guess you use a library. And C. Oh my God, C and C++. Then you have include. Fucking fuck the Unix. Include. You just slurp in a whole file. Like no library system, no modules, no namespace. Include, you slurp in a file, and if that file uses include, I just slurped in. So you have variable names stamping each other. The fuck Unix. That's the origin. All the problems of computing. As I don't know if you guys read it. The worse is better. Go read the Lisp article. Okay, there's an article very popular in 1990s called "Worse is better." You might have heard that phrase. That came from that article. It's a long history. I can talk about that article's history and who wrote it and how it became popular for 1 hour. That's worse is better. Okay, look it up. Worse is better. That's that's one chapter from a article about from Lisp, this common Lisp guy who created the company Lucid, which gave us Xemacs back in 1990s. Okay, 1990, and it involves JWZ, Jamie Zawinski, who created Netscape and so on. He made that article popular. Worse is better. Okay, JWZ was hired by this guy, Richard Gabriel. He goes by RGP, Richard G. P. Peter, something. Anyway, you can look up. Worse is better. Okay, so that article discussed two philosophies of design, operating system design, or basically, it's one philosophy is Lisp MIT philosophy. The other one is Unix. Fuck, from New Jersey. Okay. Anyway, go read that. So you have C. So everything is Unix is a virus. You become very popular. You get it to run fast. The primary concern is just get it to run fast. Simplicity and you get everyone to use it. Then everyone it become familiar with all the watts and the complexities like fuck up. Then everyone is used to it. Then they started to improve a little bit, like fix this bug, fix that bug. So C. So we begin with C fuck. Then you have C plus plus fuck. Then you have Java. Then you have C sharp. Then you have JavaScript. You have Perl. You have C shell. Or that's why C syntax, the worst syntax fuck possible. C syntax. That's standard. That's how it becomes standard. Every time you use that's why. That's why it gets people used to habituate. It makes people used to it. Israel, I use man page every day. Yeah, that's you. By the way, did you know man page is the worst? If I can name one documentation that is the worst among my 30 years of reading documentations, programming language spec, programming language documentation, programming language official tutorials, and software manual or documentation such as Emacs manual, Apache, Emacs list manual. I've read Mathematica, the whole book. I talked about this many times. Of all the documentation, if I can name one that's the worst of the worst, that's Unix man page. Okay, now in the 1990s or even in 2000s, whenever I say that, nobody believe it. You have all these Unix fuckheads. They call you a troll. Okay, but today actually people believe that. In fact, there is a movement. There is a movement to rewrite the every man page. Okay, on GitHub. I've seen that like 3 years ago. There's a movement to completely rewrite the Unix man page. I've seen that on GitHub. I don't know how popular is that. Uh, GitHub Unix man page. Like they want to rewrite it. Let's see. Maybe it's that. Uh, no, that's just man page. So we need to search for the project that rewrites all Unix man pages. So let's see if we can find that. Does anyone know? Does anyone came across? So Grindex says if C syntax is bad, what syntax is good? Well, Lisp is an option, and you also have Haskell syntax, Haskell, F sharp, meta language, ML, standard ML, or Camel. They are all of the same syntax, but I think that syntax is bad. Okay, Mathematica syntax I love. I think that's the best syntax. Mathematica syntax is actually a syntax system. Okay, it's not just one-time syntax. It's a syntax system. Okay, that topic. Greendeck. If you ask me another day, I can talk about that for one day, or about syntax because I have like 100 few hundred articles about syntax. Syntax is a huge project, a huge topic involving formal languages. Anyway, so let's talk. So if you mention that, we talk about that next day. Um, so we were talking about, yeah. So you have Haskell, yeah, Haskell syntax. This syntax, I don't like the Haskell syntax. Okay, I have articles on that. Yeah, that's gonna be another day. 20 minutes talk about on that by itself. But right now, we are trying to find the project that rewrites Unix man page. Unix man page rewrite project. What is I see it on GitHub. And then you have this Linux man page project. That's idiocy, the fucking open source. This project, this Linux man page project, and there's also a Linux documentation project. I'm not sure if they are the same thing or not. It began around 1999, something like that. The idea is that we need, Linux needs documentation because that's one major flaw. People criticize Linux, so Linux people thinking they need a documentation. But anyway, in 20 years, after 20 years, we are nowhere. Today, you still go to Stack Overflow, you dive through Arch Linux wiki, and especially on Stack Overflow, most 80% of the Linux answers are like 20 years old, 10 years old. You every time you have a problem, you go through, you find answers. Oh, that answer is 10 years old. This answer is 5 years old. Fuck the Linux. So to this day, what happens? The idea back then. This is 20 years ago. I'm not sure it's this one. There's a Linux documentation project. Okay, Linux documentation project. This is back in 1999 or year 2000. This one. Okay, this one. Very old. I think they died 10 years ago. This is the first one. The Linux documentation project. The idea is that typically in Linux, or open source, you don't have good documentation. So, people, oh, we help each other, open source, Free Software Foundation. We let's help. And today it becomes social justice. Fuck you. These people with the help mentality. Today it becomes social justice. They just kicked out Richard Stallman. What do you think about that? What you gonna do? Stand up and say things. Say things. Help humanity. Stand up. Fuck the Linux people. Fuck the open source. Helping Google now they become the criminal the criminal gang. Google, Facebook, Twitter. So anyway, Linux documentation project. This is a 1999, 20 years ago. It's long time dead. It's long time dead. It's long time dead. And then Stack Overflow come up. Stack Overflow, the commercialization, the gamification. Fuck. But they sell open source. Oh, we are open source. Stack Overflow. We help. Everything on our side. Is free open source. You can copy. The fuck. And all you people, Linux programmers, bought into it. That's a situation. You want to be practical. You want to look at the reality, not following ideology. Okay. So anyway, Linux documentation project. You can see some history here, and I don't even know what the fuck is this Linux man page project. It happens often. You try to find some. When you work in Linux, you try to find answers. All the answers like 10 years old, 5 years old, or 20 years old. Like if you are young people today, you maybe if Google, they probably don't show this page anymore. But if you run into it, oh, what is this? Oh, I need to find out how do you do firewall in Linux, and you spend 2 hours. Oh, then you realize this is like no good. That's Linux life. And also in GitHub, everyone supports GitHub. You open source fuckheads, GitHub. Today they are owned by Microsoft. What do you do? What do you think? Where does your help mentality? Are you doing good? Are you helping humanity? It becomes Microsoft. What you gonna do? So now you're gonna boycott. Now you're gonna boycott GitHub. Now you switch to the Git, the new one, the Git whatever. What's the name? GitLab, yeah. GitLab has this great logo, okay. And 3 years later, Google says, "Hey, GitLab, let's talk. We're gonna give you $10 billion, because we really love your project. It's gonna be sold, just like exactly the same decision you would do." If you started an open source, you right now, suppose you are a good open source fanatic, free software fanatic. You created the software. Yeah, I'm gonna create this project. This is pure open source. We're gonna help humanity. Encrypted and all that. Then after 5 years, you worked every day. Your life. You get no pay, little like no pay. But after 3 years, you become successful. You are happy. Then Google comes. Google. Yeah, we are Google. We help humanity, and we really love your project. Yeah, I think we give you awards. Google awards and whatever. And we're gonna buy. We are thinking. Maybe you would be interested. We're gonna give you money, $1 billion. You're gonna be sold. Fuck you. Go fuck yourself, open source fanatic. You're gonna be sold right away. Then what you say? Oh, then you have different reasons. Oh, you're gonna start a blog. You're gonna write a blog on some open source website. You're gonna say, oh, today we are happy for the open source community. Our project is finally adopted by something safe, someone who is safe, the Google. They're gonna help us, and they're gonna expand. All the good things. Yeah, all the good things. Yeah, so yeah, we got into a rant again. um, so I think maybe that's it for today. I haven't actually finished reading the comments. My hate for Linux, hate. uh, I'm alive because of hate. That is the story of my life. I'm alive because of hatred. I have so much. I have a fucked up family. uh, you know Okay, that's good. So many comments. That's too many for me to read. So I guess you guys are talking to each other. Uh, let's see what else is addressed to me. In Russia, we use that. If you stick, did you stick your Lisp stickers onto anything? Oh yeah, I remember you gave me a few, right? I don't. I even forgot about that. No, because I'm my life. I'm doing pretty bad. Okay, I'm like the easiest way to convey my situation is like if you look at the homeless on the city street. you know are you going to? I mean, if you give him a sticker, he's not gonna do anything with it. So I'm not homeless. I'm better. So I'm one level better. But like you see, if you see, I have a computer. But not much better. Okay, so I don't have a car. I don't have anything. I could be die. I could die any day. If I fall down tomorrow, I'll be done. I don't have. I don't. I can't. I don't have money to visit doctors. Anything like that. I don't have insurance. What? Nothing. If I ride my bike tomorrow and I fell down, that might be it. And so that's my situation. So you give me stickers. I don't even have. I do have a Windows kind of a laptop, kind of the Windows Surface Book I can stick to, but I don't. So yeah, I don't have. That's my situation. It's kind of chaotic. Let's see what happens. Um, so Seema says 2005 is young for UTF-8. Yes. Uh, Is UTF-8 invented in 2005 yet? Even I think it is. Yes. So 2005 is young for UTF-8, and China just chooses what they want. It doesn't reflect technicality on UTF-8. Right. But there's also another issue because if you let me tell you this, okay? If you encode Chinese in UTF-8 versus if you encode Chinese in UTF-16, the UTF-16 encoding will have much smaller file size. Because each Chinese character will typically be 2 bytes in UTF-16, okay? But if you do it in UTF-8, then each Chinese character will typically have 3 bytes, okay? That is in general the case. So I mean, if you are a nation, I mean, if you are Chinese, obviously UTF-8 will in every file for the whole nation will be 1.5 times larger if you do it in UTF-8. So that there's an issue of that. So that's why you don't, so UTF-8 is not like the utopia. Like, I know these many Linux fanatics, Unix, philosophy people. They are like every day they are telling you, oh, UTF-8 should be the universal. Fuck. They are just spreading their propaganda, politically biased. Yeah, because if you are a Western people, I mean, how do you know about Chinese? I mean, you don't know. Yeah, I mean, it's not like you intentionally, it's not like you know about this but you intentionally try to be evil. No, that's not the case. But however, on the other hand, you don't spend the extra time, you don't go extra mile to actually study, but how does Chinese do it, how do Indian do it, how do Islamic do it, how they affect Islamic. You don't actually think about that much. Like once they publish an article, if you are just European, you read it. Oh yeah, that's so true. We should all UTF-8, and then you tell everyone else. You tell all your friends. That's a thing. Meanwhile, I'm not saying same thing happens for Chinese people in China. Same thing, exactly the same thing. They don't see other Western ways because they live in China. That's their thought. That's your so that's why we have different cultures and therefore different biases from different groups. Yeah. So Greendeck says no ASCII is Windows 1252. Windows 1252 is Cyrillic. Oh, Windows 1251 is Cyrillic. Okay. Joseph Smith. Who is that? That name sounds familiar. And for the record, Google and the internet are a good start. Uh, okay, that's it. I think that's it for today. Yeah, 1 hour. Oh, 1 hour. 1 hour and 22 minutes. Okay, let's have 2 more minutes. Okay, if you have any questions, address to me. Let's talk about 2 more minutes. Okay, yeah, 2 more minutes. That's it. Okay, and 2 more minutes. I'm gonna shut down. Every time I talk about, like, now I have 17 watchers. I notice every time I talk about, if I do if I do very technical talk, usually that's you have less people. But if I talk about non-technical, like just random opinions, especially if I go into a a rant mod, lively, then people want to watch it because it's drama, it's dramatic. that that's actually not a good thing. That's how that's part of the reason all the clickbaits, all the every day you see any article, their name, their title is just fucking clickbait. So after today, this video we are named, this video we are named. Okay, I'm gonna name today's video, why Linux sucks donkey ass. Okay. Then I need to spend time to customize a icon for the video. That's what people do. Like you go to every YouTube channel, every video they have customized icon. So why is that? That's marketing. Okay, you actually you almost always that icon you will not find. That icon is not in your video. Like you will not find a frame in your video having that screen, but you customize it. So you create a screenshot, some drawing or whatever to represent this video. I don't like to do that. So in my video, you don't see that. Every video almost, the icon looks the same. But you have to do that's why I despise this all the commercialization fuck. And that's why also I don't make uh, make much money. I don't want really do that. I don't really want to do that. And with clickbaits on and so on. So for example, so today I need to, for example, what is a good icon for dramatic icon for like Unix fucking sucks. Uh, so I need to create some some simple graphic outstanding, or even just with the words, Unix sucks donkey ass, just big bold title. Then people will actually click it. They will start, I will see, with the Google's, the analytic fuck. Google will tell me, oh, they show me all the graphs. Oh, this video have so many, how many people, how many new people watch this video at what time, and so all these graph fuck the marketing fuck. Google, of course, Google wants you to be successful as a YouTube creator. YouTuber, fucking marketing term, YouTuber. Not just someone who uses YouTube, but YouTuber, fuck Google. And Twitter, Twitter, tweeting, each platform, they create their words just for their own use. So instead of posting on Twitter, you say tweet a tweet. You tweet something, and fuck them. And Mastodon, same thing with the fucking Mastodon, open source fuckheads. They have no brain. They don't think. So for example, Mastodon, they in the beginning at least, they want to call their post to be what they call it, I forgot. But anyway, they try to have a term for the word posting when you using Mastodon to post something. So anyway, Twitter has tweet. And anyway, so YouTube have YouTuber and YouTube creator. Anyway, YouTube want you, the creator, to be successful. Like if I go to my YouTube channel as myself, I see the whole bunch of like YouTube, they're gonna try to help me. How do you increase your audience? Let me show you guys, okay? Because I'm guessing most of you don't do YouTube. Some of you do, I think. For example, let's go to my YouTube studio beta. Okay, so this is you're gonna see my private screen. Okay, YouTube beta. So let's look at this channel. This is my dashboard. Channel analytics. Current subscribers 1,100 something. 94 increase in last 28. It makes me happy. You want to keep me updated, like how many subscribers I have now. Oh, if my subscribers is down, I need to do something. So you got these statistics and how many top videos, how many are watching my latest videos or whatever. Then you can go to Google Analytics, go to channel analytics. The fuck, Google. Now, this is not the common opinion you will hear from YouTubers, okay, the YouTube creators. Typically, I will be happy. Oh my God, Google is so great. Oh, look, they provide, my chats, how many people I have, how many people subscribe to my channel, and look at all these fucking statistics. How can I make it so that, how can I create a clickbait, so that I can see, oh, this clickbait has got more viewers. Oh, that clickbait did not have more viewers. So next time I need to do more clickbait in that style. Okay, so so Google is doing this, and what they say, they are helping you. Of course, Google is so nice. They are helping humanity. They are helping you creators to make your YouTube popular for spreading information for the good of humanity. Fuck. Look at this. Look at this news. Boost performance with playlists. These nice people. Diversity. Diverse guys. Diversity. Creator Insider. Oh, Creator Insider. Make more money on yellow dollar videos. I don't even know what the fuck is a yellow dollar videos. And another dashboard. Ideas for you. Make your next production shine. The fuck, YouTube. So, they and every YouTuber. So what's the consequence of these? Well, the consequence is that YouTube grows and grows, and every time you go to YouTube, you see all these clickbaits everywhere. You know, then why is YouTube doing this? Of course, they are not doing this to help creators. They are doing this so that the more YouTube videos, the more people watch, the more money they make. Okay, you make and they make. Every time you make, they remember they half or 60% something of the ad money goes to them. YouTube goes to Google. So we have this commercialization situation. That's then. So what's wrong with that? What's wrong? Well, on the surface, it seems nothing wrong, but there is a cumulative consequences. The consequences today is, we have the cancel culture, we have the millennials, we have the social justice scam. Who care about nothing, just attacking. People don't have like principle or ethic. They don't think anymore. You just lots of things. Then you have one of the most important consequence is divide. You divide people in a nation. For example, USA into right wing or left wing. Each one only see their like bubble. You call it bubble. Each one only see their opinions. They don't see, you don't see anything outside of it. Why does that happen? Because each of these YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, when you go to YouTube, they only show you what you liked based on your past experience. Why they do that? Because when you only see what you like it more. so you only see what you like to see. You don't see opinions that you don't like outside. So eventually, so it becomes so USA people becomes very very narrow viewed. You only see you only see one thing. That's what happens. So there's a question. Good morning, Matt5. Matt5 says, what do you think about subscription-based model or SaaS? What is that? Some servers or something? Well, the subscription-based model is good. Okay, that's fantastic. That's the best. However, the situation is that it's not working because most people, they are so used to free things. I mean, the free concept is kind of the universal way to get people to. It's kind of like everyone love free things. I mean, we have the phrase "there's no free lunch." Okay, it becomes so popular. I mean, it's human nature. Everyone just want to take things for free. Whenever there's free things, immediately you become popular. This is also why open source and free software foundation, they become popular because it's free, meaning you don't have to pay. The moment open source or free software, the moment you actually have to pay for every software, immediately free software will die, open source will die, like wiped out immediately the next day. The fucking open source ideology fuckheads, they don't believe, they don't realize this. The reason, the most important reason that free software foundation, the ideology, or the open source ideology, the most important reason they survive, okay, they are kind of all of you, okay, believing in it, is because they are actually free, meaning you don't have to pay, okay. If tomorrow every open source or free software you have to pay for it, you have to pay to get Linux, immediately the idea will be killed, will be dead, okay. The fucking open source ideology fuckheads, they are believing the fantasy. That is the reason free software and open source, they thrive. But however, they say, oh, because we are beer, free as free speech, not beer. The fuck no. You are here because free beer. That is why you are still here. Without free beer, you'll be dead. Nobody will use it. Okay. The concept of so free things is one of the most fundamental core human psychology that gets something popular. Okay. That's a fundamental thing. That is also why tech, Donald Knuth tech, LaTeX, becomes very popular, refuse to die. It's one of the worst technology, okay, but it's everywhere. It's also part of the reason many of the Unix systems and C, programming language C, they thrive because free, okay, meaning you don't have to pay. That is the origin, how they become popular. Okay, so that's so what were we talking about? I was talking about something else before that branched into this free thing. Oh yeah, what do you think about subscription-based model? Okay, now that's a good idea because if you want something, you pay for it. Okay, then the quality is good, such as Apple product. When you buy Apple, everything is good. I mean, even they do evil and stuff, but their software, their hardware is just good. It's just good. Same thing with Microsoft. It's not as good, but it's still. On the other hand, on Linux, everything is up to yourself. First of all, you spend 2 years to be a nerd to know how Linux works. Then you can install Linux, like the grub, the boot, the disk partition. Then then you learn. Yeah, that's when you use Linux. Your mom cannot use it. Okay, you have to be a nerd first. Spend 2 years to be a nerd. So anyway, what about subscription-based model? I think that's good, but it kind of failed. It didn't pick up because somewhat because of the nature of the web. We are used to free websites. We don't want to pay. Nobody like among open source. I hear a lot. Okay, among open source and free software fanatics, they say, or even sometimes they tell me my website. Xa, don't like we would donate. We're happy to donate. Don't we don't want ads. We're happy to donate you, but actually, in reality, nobody does. Okay, the moment I put ads, I have 100 times money than no ads, than just donation, because I had that. I was dying of hunger. I had that. Nobody actually do anything. But they all say, the open source fuckheads, fanatics, they all say, oh, we actually love to donate. If you don't have ads, we'll donate. That's not true. You actually, anyone knows the truth. If you run a company trying to do open source, immediately, right away, you'll realize nothing works. What you thought is all wrong. You cannot survive. Okay, no donation, nothing. It's contrary to what you want to believe. There are so many stories, but they get buried over the past 20 years. You don't hear it because every time you post, you have that story. negative about open source. Someone, some really believed in open source, who tried to run a company, but run into all kind of problems. Then eventually they closed down. For example, ThinkDB, um, the math software by this mathematician, based on Python. What's the name? I can find it. I have blog about it. Lots of stories, lots of. You don't hear it because every time you post on Hacker News, Reddit, people vote it down. That's what happens. Then partly it has to do with this commercialization facts. You have this like and dislike thing. Instead of saying opinions, you have this like and dislike. People vote it down, so you don't get to see it. So you live in a bubble. Then less and less people. Everyone is just open source fanatic. So back to the subscription based model. That's a good thing, but I don't. But because partly because the kind of the nature of the web, everyone is just used to free things, so they don't want to pay. Okay, and also because the web, everyone can just copy. Like I spent years writing my tutorials, Emacs or JavaScript. JavaScript in depth. I spent like almost basically full time for 2 years. All my Emacs and Emacs Lisp tutorial, I spent, you can say full, if you say full time, basically I wrote my Emacs and Emacs Lisp tutorial for 15 years. You can say basically 1 hour a day on average. So maybe full time, 3 years full time. But once you wrote it, everyone can copy it. They can just they see, this is how this works. They just rephrase it and becomes on Wikipedia and becomes on Stack Overflow. What can you do? There's nothing you can do. I mean, on the other hand, you cannot say, oh, you are wrong, because it's really information. I mean, you don't want to say, it's open information. You spend the time, you help other people, but then it does happen that there are all these people, and sometimes intentional, sometimes naively. They just copy your stuff and it becomes on Wikipedia. So you don't make money, no money. I looked into how much money a book writer can make. I have an article somewhere. If you just search Sali, how much author makes. I researched. If you are, for example, if you write a JavaScript book, JavaScript is the most popular language. If you write a JavaScript book, and if that book is the number one top seller in JavaScript, okay, how much you make? Yeah, maybe $1,000 a month, maybe for 5 months, for a year, 1,000 for 1 year, okay. Now, if you are a software engineer, if you are an intern at Google, you make fucking 10,000 a month. So book writers, it doesn't matter how good you are. Even if you are a number one seller, you don't make money. That's when you are writing books for O'Reilly, for example, O'Reilly. But if you are like me, just writing on tutorial, then you don't get nothing. You don't get nothing. And people, so there's a lot of these issues. I think subscription is good, but it's kind of hard to get it moving. So Matt says, I think I got you, by the way, Xali. I'm not against subscription-based service, but it's sad that this becomes the standard, and not all of these services are fair to the users. This becomes the standard. What do you mean? I don't see what you mean. So Dingo says the whole thing assumes software is a good thing. Why would you be dead broke and maintain software? Anyway, I think I'm talking too long. So I think I'm talking too long. I'm getting hot, and 1 hour and 40 minutes. So that's it for today. Yeah. Imagine every YouTube channel was not free trigger word, but you would need to pay a subscription to every channel. if you have to pay a subscription, if you have to pay a subscription for everything that market would break down, as nobody could afford to subscribe to 100 different things they need. Why, I don't know, I don't understand why is Google censoring this. There is no swearing word in this post. Why is Google has become so fucking this fucking social justice fucks their idea. Why are they censoring this comment? I have no idea. Yeah. So thank you guys for watching. now I got 20 videos, 20 watchers, and 21 watchers. Anyway, that's it for today. Bye, guys. I have 1,000 viewers, so I can press the buttons and say apply, so that so I can monetize on my YouTube. But I'm not sure. I'm just so many things going on, politics. I'm not sure about that. On one hand, I talk about sensitive issues, and I swear, so Google is gonna demonetize me even if I have it on. It's probably gonna happen often. But also, if I try to make my account monetize, then then if Google shut me down, then it becomes Google will watch it more carefully, because now you are monetized. Google will start to watch it. Watch every fuck you say, every anti-social justice whatever you say, or men and women. They will start to watch it more closely. Then I get more problems, because if they Google shut me down, they shut my Gmail and my website account down. That would be bad, because that would be bad. So I need to do backup. I need to move out of Gmail. There's so many things I need to do, but I don't have lots of means to do it. So anyway, we'll see what happens. Okay. Who knows? Who knows what the future lies? We'll see. Bye, guys.